morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get everything on. I guess I didn't have my volume up. Hey, good morning and happy Tuesday. No, my God, Thursday. So Tuesday, we thought it was Thursday, and now I'm saying like happy Tuesday. Oh my goodness gracious. Good morning, Kathy. Kathy was on and ready to go before we were, as was Gail with the Empowering Process podcast. And both have also jumped on Facebook. We really appreciate that. It's really nice. And good morning to my sister, Leanne. Good morning. Good morning. The fastest shower I have ever seen. 1 minute, I blinked. She said she was getting in the shower. And then all of a sudden I heard her walking up the steps. It was very funny. But good morning, everyone. And happy Thursday. Welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I'm the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, coming to you from the beautiful and fabulous Eastern Tennessee, where it is very green and very pretty, and the sun is peeking out, and the morning dew is on the grass, and it's just lovely, just lovely. I can't wait for everybody to come down and see it. Good morning, Esther. Is it Ai? How do you say her last name? I know you know how to say her last name. Good morning, Esther.
Good morning, Esther.
Right.
No, I don't see her because you see the people when they come on here. Good morning, mi gente. Buenos días. Thank you all for coming on this beautiful sunshiny day. So here we are. What's that thing? Let's make it do what it do. This is from a movie. We need to stop watching movies.
Well, you'll never stop watching those Korean flicks. You definitely like
Kamsahamnida.
Well, good morning. And again, we are ending the month. We have two more Vivas for the month of April. April did go by faster, definitely faster than March, I would say. April is the living month. So we've been talking about living and living your life and what that means and how you're doing it. And what did we talk about on Tuesday? We were talking about life finds a way. And that was from a quote from the first Jurassic Park. And I think it was actually requoted in one of the sequels. But it's basically saying that no matter what, life keeps growing. So we have to decide if we will keep growing along with it or if we're going to stay stagnant. And the reality is that in the world, like as living organisms start over and start fresh and reproduce, they keep moving forward. If they do not move forward, guess what happens to them? They die. A tree that does not keep pushing forward, trying to find the light, if it's shadowed by another tree, it will eventually die, or it will stay alive for a long time, but it will suffer because it will be all, there'll be so many branches that are just dead, and only a little teeny peak of it is getting that light it needs. So it's not getting the nutrients that it needs. And I see that down in the back pasture. We have a spring at the bottom in the back pasture, and it's surrounded by trees. And you can see that over the years, they've let it grow. They've done nothing with it. So there's a lot of trees in there that really do need to be trimmed away and cut because it's interfering with some of the other trees. Plus, they're not growing properly. So I got to get down there with the chainsaw and like a few good men. Not because women can't do it. It's just because I like watching the men. I just like watching the men take down the trees.
And you're a movie buff too. Just admit it.
Yeah.
A few good men.
That's right.
Netflix has the series on, and it's about animals and trees. And it was just so interesting. My son and I were watching it, and it comes to the parts of the trees. And it fit perfect because I was trying to get my son to hug a tree, and then I explained it to him, and he sent me these funny memes with it days later. So whatever we spoke about, it planted, and that's all we want as parents. That's all we want is what we say to at least get put in the soil. And it was showing how if one plant is sick in the forest, like whatever, and it showed like these blue, beautiful energy lights coming down from the trees underground. It looked like, when they do those optic cable commercials with all the blue stuff going all over. And then it shows it going up into the tree trunks, like this magnificent blue neon, and all the trees that needed water. And I say, we all need to watch that to remind ourselves that it's still life and that life exists beyond our own wow. And when we do that, then we honor all living things,
Yes.
not just humans. And I think when we honor all living things, the plants, the trees, the rose bushes, the birds, that we just build the integrity within, and we honor who we are, and we strive to be better as the human we are. So I think that, thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's magnificent. And if you can't save that one, because if you do, it will destroy the others, then it's a choice, right? You have to make this choice and get your chainsaw.
Yeah, well, and look what
Save
Kathy wrote.
it.
Kathy wrote, like, we have a peach tree that needs to be removed. It's such a support for me here, yet I know it's time. Yeah, and I've had peach trees before, and peach trees, when they're done, peach trees don't have a really long life. Not like, I mean, we have a tree behind the barn that is so, you could tell the sucker's so old. It's so beautiful. It's got the fattest trunk. It's unfortunate that it is in a really bad spot because it hangs right over the barn, and the tree, the branches hang over. However, I think what we're going to do is just make sure that it stays on. Good morning, Ruthie, and good morning, Editha. Ruthie, nice to see you. We want to keep the tree because it's just so spectacular, and because it's old. But we definitely have to maintain it and take care of it. And I think that's the other thing, is that when we're talking about life finds a way, we have to keep moving forward. But just like pruning those trees back and thinning out, it's like that expression, thinning out the herd. We're talking about thinning out the herd. Natural selection takes place where the weakest, the slowest, the sickest, they get taken out. Now, I'm not saying for you to get taken out if you're weak or slower. It's just, we're telling you that if your mindset is pushing you to be weak and slow, if you are allowing yourself to be that, we're telling you not to do that anymore. We're telling you to make sure that you keep moving forward. Not that we're saying that if you're weak and sick, just forget it. Just succumb to it. There's people out there that are paralyzed from the waist down, sometimes from the neck down, and still participate in their world. So what we're saying is that this is the living month. We want you to live your life, enjoy your life, participate in your life, and be very clear on what it is that you want in your life, so that you are moving forward, and that you prune out the things that don't matter to you, the things that prevent you from being the best version of yourself. And that's where the pruning comes in. That's where the natural selection comes in, is you get to select those individuals or those situations that get in the way of your growth of being a better human being. Because that's really what it comes down to, is being a better human and living a very fulfilled life that also helps other people around them. Not that you have to purposely do it for that reason. It's just that you're a better person, then it creates a better world.
Yes. David Lee, good morning. How are you? I hope your mom is well. He says, good morning, ladies. Traveling up the coast, shining in my light, living and walking my dream finally. You know what?
Yes.
Namaste. I am
Nice.
so happy for you, David.
Yes.
And thank you. I'm going to take that here, Aviva, the Badass Buddha, and I, for a small participation in that part of you, David. So thank you for sharing. Listen, they say love is self-love is the hardest kind of love to come by. But I think when you learn how to be gentle with yourself and kind with yourself, because you are with yourself every waking and sleeping moment of your existence, I believe you start to notice life around you, because you are life. I think that when we learn how to just appreciate that we are in existence, remember the quote I said, the song I heard, um, soy exitoso porque existo, meaning I am successful solely because I exist.
Yes.
And we start to honor that part of our being, eh, removing all past eras, all past mistakes, all past traumas, because they are no longer able to hurt you. Just the memory of it. Remember that. Just the memory that you invoke will trigger that pain again. So if we're here, right here, where our feet are planted today, and we're saying, like David, that I'm going to live my best life starting today. I'm going to, you know what? Let's go get a manicure. Let's go get whatever. Do that self care. Just go walk the beach.
Mm.
Do something for you because Iris, I'm going to throw you under the bus. Iritza is always running. I have to go here, driving, pulling up in her little Honda. You hear her coming. She swerves into the parking lot and then she's forgetting stuff. Um, and she's always in 50 million places. And I honor that about her, that, she does, she goes, I got to get here, I got to get there. Otherwise, everything not working out for me. When you're so busy being busy, you forget the small, important parts of the foundation.
Yes.
And so she's always busy doing this. And then she goes, well, why didn't I have time to do this for me? We all have the same amount of time.
Yes.
And
It's how
I
we
think
manage
that,
it.
yeah, and like I tell you, like sometimes when I feel like, okay, I need a rest. Iris is always singing that song, "The hips don't lie," because of the arthritis we have in our hips, right? But you got to sit down. You got to find what's the place that's not going to cramp it up or not lay on it. You got to figure out what it is you do that's not going to do that. Movement is everything, but when you sit a certain way, you get up from the car, be gentle with yourself.
Yes.
Be kind with yourself. When you can do that, let me tell you, there's nothing that you cannot conquer because there's nothing that you will say, I can't. Because can't means you won't. Because for every problem, there's a solution. And to live is such a privilege that many have not reached today to do.
Yes.
So we have to understand, right? So we have to
With every,
understand, why am I,
can I just add to what, because I
what am
just,
I going to do?
oh,
Go ahead.
I just
Go ahead.
I
Go
just
ahead.
want to I just want to reiterate what you said. Like, to every problem, there's a solution. So Marie Forleo always likes to say that, and it's cute. And she had a book called "Everything Is Figure Outable." It's true. Everything is figure outable. There's a problem to every solution. The challenge is that sometimes the solution is not what we want, and but it's what we need, right? It's that expression that we don't always know what we want, but we like, right? Isn't it? Say, what is the expression? I know you know that expression. God knows what it is that you
God
not
doesn't give you what you want. He gives you what you need. And
right.
when you're praying on something, and sometimes people only pray when they want something. But when you're praying on something and you don't get it, don't get upset. God didn't say no. He just said not now. And if we
Yes.
remember that, if we incorporate that into our lives, that's a solution to many of our problems. Oh, I can't
Yes.
believe I couldn't do this. They wouldn't let me do this. They didn't do this, so now I can't do this. It's always somebody's fault.
Right.
It's always
Right.
some happening outside of
Right.
you.
Right.
Well, when you go into something, don't be so stoic with it.
Yes.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do, and that's it. You gotta you gotta leave room for plan B, C, and maybe D. Who the fuck
Yes.
knows? What
Yes.
happens is,
Yes.
if your plan A is not as solid as you thought, or not even,
Direct.
like, people looking at you like, what were you thinking? But in your mind, you made this grandiose plan with it. And then when reality hit, you're like, maybe not too much. So you gotta have a second and third. My
Yes.
husband, when he used to lay there paralyzed, he would make the people around him crack up, but he was so freaking honest. he would say, someone said, but Eric, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, but my plan C was that blah, blah, to follow it up with my plan D. And then someone said, how many plans you have? He says, many as the alphabet
That's right.
allows, because we should
And
never
double
give up.
AA, BB,
Yeah.
CC.
So, sometimes we come in, sometimes it's the ego that's saying, well, I deserve this and this is what I'm going to get.
Yes. Yep.
Sometimes it's just closed-minded people who want to think outside, you know, the box that they didn't even work on creating.
Yes.
So I just think that if life evolves every second that we breathe, right? So either we catch up with it or we roll with it, looking at everything and deciding what is best for me. There's so many options out there, but there's only
Yes.
one of you. So what is it that you truly desire, that it's going to better your life, that it's going to bring you to this next step, and then you're going to be on your own for a while, because you got to fit into it. You got to see, is this for me? Because everything easy is just that easy, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Those drive-through meals, quick, fast, and easy. But then the chaos they cause, a silent chaos inside of you. Go home and make some white rice in your rice pot, which I bought one and they made fun of me, and now it's being used, and it's like such a great thing. Throw the rice in
Well,
there,
it
boom, that's
is.
it.
Makes things so much easier. I agree with you.
Yes. And we make everything hard. Why? Because, well, my mom used to always make it in the caldero, so that's what I'm gonna use, and I don't care for
Yes.
cooking, so I'm like, what's
And
but
it
it's
tastes
still
better
your
in that.
ingredient.
That's the other thing. It tastes better in that. So I'm not going to try. And that's the key. We're talking about forward motion. So one of the
Yes.
things that we wrote in our notes is forward motion is don't look back, be present to create your future. What's the point of
Hmm.
looking back? The only thing that the only here there's only two reasons to look back. Two reasons to look back. Number one is uh, to cherish the memories, to look back and be in that moment of, oh, that was a really wonderful time. And even if that wasn't a wonderful time, this is what I learned. And then that other piece is to remind yourself of what it is that you were supposed to have learned. That this is a reminder, because that direction I'm going in now is a direct result of my past. There's no point in reminiscing about the past over and over again, because it keeps you there. It's about being present, looking back and go, I really veered. I'm looking back at my path and going, woo, what the hell was that? I was all over the place. It looks like this. Do I want a straighter path? And I would like to. So what do I need to do to make that path straighter so that my motion is more forward, and create for that future, be present for that future, moving forward. When you were talking before, Gladiator Guru, about flexibility, like if plan A is not working, go to plan B. And I just want to shout out to, good morning, Catherine Marie, Charlene Garcia, Bill Atkins came on, Diana Negron, good morning. um, when
Burnett.
when that is not think again, where we were talking about the trees. Trees are very flexible. They move, and if you've ever seen a really big windstorm, some of those trees bend, like they bend to the point where you're looking at that going, oh my goodness, like how is that not breaking? Because in the summertime, when they're very flexible, they're designed to do that so that they don't die, they don't break, that they bend with the what's happening around them. They're flexible. But again, it doesn't always happen. There's sometimes where the roots didn't take hold very well, and a big wind comes and it will literally rip that tree right off the
Hmm.
ground, and see the roots come up with it. And then that tree's it. That I mean, actually some trees can survive that way, but some don't. Others just literally break in half. But they're great analogies, because do you want to be flexible and say, okay, you know what, plan B isn't working, or how about this, plan S is not working, I had all these other plans, what the hell, then I'm going on a plan T. However, you need to sit though and take a pause and say, why didn't plans A, B, 3, A to S not work? what am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm not learning something. I'm not paying attention because, or I mean, there's a lot of other circumstances, but see
Mm-hmm.
if you did play a role, if you made some poor choices and create, or if you relied on things that you shouldn't have. Again, those are just choices. You look like you wanted to say something. So would
No,
you?
all I was gonna say, or sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes, depending on your belief system, sometimes you need to go through all the trials and tribulations from A to Z, and until you become comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all about elevating yourself. Sometimes when a plan doesn't work, it wasn't for you, but you paid attention. And then when you're like, oh, okay, that's not happening, then you go and you're stepping up the steps towards your purpose, but you have to go through all those cobblestone streets and shit to get there. Sometimes things don't need an explanation. You just need to know you've arrived.
Yes.
The other day we were having, even yesterday, the merchant from the Alchemist. Like, that's also a plan that didn't work out for him. But look at what happened, what he
Right.
gained out of that. And sometimes we got
Right.
to look at life. When you do look back and say, damn, I went through boom, 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 boom. And yeah, we've invested. So people are like, I wasted all that money. No, I invested in my training of what works for me and what doesn't. And
And
if
that's
you just change that word of wasted money
yes.
or investing in thyself, it makes all the difference in the world. So many, I'm always told, you've done so many things, and what have you done? At least I know what works and what doesn't work, and I learned
Yes.
that at a young age because I
Right.
wasn't afraid to try things.
Right.
And did I invest in stuff? Yeah, whatever I invested in and whatever product I had, I enjoyed it because I like whatever I invested in at the moment. If it didn't work out for me, but at least I have all this now. I own this product that I'm going to utilize.
Right.
What happens is never look at something unless you have no more life in you, you know. And if you read the word or if you listen to people speak the word, sometimes we're constantly stuck. And I was having this conversation with the badass Buddha. I was so stuck on my long hair, like missing my long hair, that I wasn't like, and I was hating my hair, and I feel like it's not growing fast enough, and it is, but I wasn't paying attention to it because I was stuck. And then it brought me back to Lot's wife. In the Bible, the only thing it says about Lot's wife is 3 words that we need to incorporate into our daily lives. Don't look back. Why are we looking back? When we're here in our present, prepping to go forward. Think about that when you're traveling. Go. They never go like this. When you're on the strip at the airport, it's always doing this or this.
Yeah.
Meaning now, this is now, and this is forward.
Yeah.
They never flip it backwards. So I just think that if we remember those 3 words, don't look back, because whatever happened, whatever hurt, whatever made us happy, we can't live there because it's not there no more. Even when you do
That's
look
right.
back like that, there's nothing there. It's what's in here. So don't look back, either in memory, or in actually looking back. My father always said when we were little, when you run, never look back because it slows you down. So if someone's chasing you and you look
Run
back, they're
like
gonna
hell.
catch you. Just run, just run. And that is like the best
Just run
advice to
until
give
you
to.
don't see them anymore. Then you finally turn around and like, where are they?
Yeah, just run. Because it's all of that right there. What I got out of that was it's always all about you. What are you willing to invest in yourself? How safe are you willing to keep yourself? When you're running away from something, you're running forward. Think of it that way. You're not going in circles hoping that it calms down and you can stay where you were. You're running away from something. You're running forward into
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
safety,
Yeah.
into your you. That is life. Life doesn't continue on the hamster wheel because it will rot. It would go stale. Life is about moving forward. Movimiento es vida. And we talk about that all the time, which means movement, going forward, planning forward, activating that, be that $20,000 new credit card you got. You got to activate it in order to use it and to gain credits or to gain rewards, right? You got to, and then you pay it and then you move forward and you spend it. Even a credit card teaches you to move forward, not backwards. Because if you miss a payment, guess what happens? You're back where you were, and we don't want to be there because we just paid a lot to fix our credit. So you keep going forward. Life is easy. We make it difficult.
The other thing is, and I'm so glad you brought up The Alchemist. So Kathy found papers, and Kathy, I couldn't enlarge the papers to read what you wrote, but I'm going to try to go on my laptop and see but I know it had something to do with The Alchemist because I'm very curious to see what the papers that you found, but they were old papers that she found while she was at a church or something like that. But when you talked about The Alchemist and the merchant, the beauty of that part of the story is the fact that this was an individual who stagnated, and he was really losing his spirit, and he was ready to close, like he was done. And here comes this young, not naive in a way, but that's a good thing, with all these ideas and giving it to the merchant. And initially he was like, nah, but there was enough spark in him to trust in the process and allow the boy to do that, and to sort of take over. Well, not sort of, to take over. And that's sometimes all you need. Sometimes it's, we need to move forward for our own selves. Very true. Occasionally, though, we do need assistance. It's nice to hold hands with somebody. It's nice to walk beside somebody. Sometimes it's nice to be guided, like somebody's right in front of you and you're following them until you find your own path, because sometimes you can't see it, and it helps. So that's the other thing about flexibility is that moving forward is also knowing enough and nurturing that ego to where you can be open to allow other people or situations to come in and help guide you, because we do get stuck, and sometimes it requires an individual to really sit with you, or to walk with you, push you, get behind you sometimes, and push your ass, and help you move forward, because we do get a little stuck. And all it takes is one person or a group of people to just spark it. Again, it's not about following the masses. Sometimes just being open to the idea by what the masses might be saying, but you still have to create your own path. You still have to move forward and use what works for you. But the bottom line is you still want to move forward, because when that merchant trusted in the process, he was blown away at the changes that had occurred in his business beyond what he could have even have thought of, because he wasn't in that space. But here comes this wonderful with this wonderful individual with all these ideas that planted those seeds. And so sometimes younger people have that beautiful ability because they have this optimistic, they don't overthink like we do as we get older. I tried that didn't work, it's going to not work, blah, blah, blah. Where there's sometimes like ignorance is bliss. But sometimes you have that in older people too, because not too many people have squashed their idea. And that's the other thing, is that when you tell somebody your idea and you say, this is what I want to do, and good morning, Milagros. When somebody says, and good morning, Tiffany, when somebody says, oh, that's stupid, or I don't know, how are you going to do that? That immediately squashes it. And if you are the type of person to allow that, you've struggled with this your whole life, where you have allowed your ideas to be squashed by other people, it's time to shut the hell up and stop telling people who have no vision your ideas. You're probably telling the same people over and over again. Stop doing that. Keep it to yourself, and then find people that can help you, guide you into that going forward. Not the people that are going to go, that's a stupid idea. The people are going to go, okay, well, let's help you figure this out. Let's help you make this happen, because this is important to you. And if plan B for that doesn't work, then you go on to plan C, then you go on to plan D, but keep moving forward, if you have to take that pause, but make that pause worth the pause. Don't just
Mm-hmm.
sit there and ruminate and talk about the past and that didn't work and and complain. You want to take a pause to reignite. You want to take a pause to review. Remember we had that show Rest and Review and Reset. Sort of, okay, let me look at all the things that I've been doing. Let me review it. What's working, what's not, what can I do differently? Let me reset. I'm ready. I'm going to get up. I'm going to put my backpack back on and I'm going to go.
But
That's
you know,
that's moving forward.
but how many people are not aware of who they are? If you're constantly going to get upset because somebody's going to tell you your vision or your idea is stupid, yes, stop talking about it. But why are build your your self-esteem, cultivate that self-trust within yourself. Go back to your garden and start and re-fertilize and put your fingers in it and move that dirt around so that the stems and everything can grow stronger, because that's
Right.
you. If you're constantly getting offended by what people say, yeah, don't say nothing. One, and two is put your big girl panties on. I'm all about building that inner strength. I don't want to hear you complain about how somebody's hurting your feelings, but you keep doing what you're doing,
Yes.
which only means that you're not as strong as you're portraying to be. So
Yes.
to me, you can conquer and achieve and succeed at anything you do by cultivating that self-trust, that
Yes.
self-belief, that self-respect, and the self-love of who you are with your flaws and all.
Yes.
Okay? I'm not about pussyfooting around to accommodate what you don't believe in yourself. I'm going to tell you what I think about you. And if I'm spending my time with you, it's because I believe in you. But, sometimes what you said is absolutely right. Do not share your goals with people who have no visions. That's family members, that's siblings, that's your own children.
It's even
People who
people you don't know. Even people you don't know. We're at a
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Even if you can do that around your family, then imagine the people who are watching you. See, there's people with good intentions. There's people that you're going to come across, whether you speak to or who are watching you from afar, and your family that are going to watch you and your gumption for life and say, "Oh, you inspired me." It's like you've awakened something within me that I was afraid to disturb. And they go forward and they build their dream. They start working on the goals that they set but were slightly afraid or maybe was closed off by other people. That's beautiful. You're going to encounter people who are cheering you on from the outside, and inside they hope you fail because they failed to
Yeah.
show up for their lives. It's
Yes.
nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So you're not here to please everybody.
No.
You're not here to be liked by everybody.
That's right.
Remember, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I drink coffee, so fuck them. I'm not here to play nice with people. I will, I'm always going to be kind to people because I give everybody an A until they fuck it up
Yeah.
all the time. It's really up to, we'll see how the energy flows with us. And I don't like a lot of people. I don't. And I feel your energy the minute you walk in, and that determines a lot. But what I'm saying is there's people that you do invest in that are really like cheering for you, and then they end up secretly disliking you because they're still not growing, because they're not believing in themselves, they're not watering themselves. Then they see you going, oh, this, that, I'm gonna do this. Oh, look at, oh, I saw this, I'm gonna try this, and I do it. But it's okay, because I'm not here to win a popularity contest. Neither are you. You are there to show up for yourself. You are to build on the dreams and the visions you have.
Yes.
You are, if you get this feeling, you be sitting on the couch and all of a sudden a thought comes and you're like, where did that come from? Act on it.
Yep.
Act on it. Let me tell you something. I made so much money. There was days that I made $700 in a day selling the soaps that I made. When my husband was paralyzed, I'm praying, what can I do? With all the talent you've given me, God, what can I do? That's what I heard crickets whisper. Okay. Then I woke up and I was smelling something. And I was like, what is it that I'm smelling? It smells good. And then it's like soap. Literally sitting on the couch on my laptop. Then the next day, and I said, Eric, I keep getting this idea to make soap. I never made soap. Why would I be thinking about that? And then I was like, whatever. Then the third day, it was like in your face smelling. And that was my most popular one, which was my almond oatmeal cold pressed soap. And then I said, oh, okay. I looked up to the heavens and I said, oh, okay, I get it. And we didn't hardly have money. We lived off Eric's Social Security check. And I went and I bought a little bit of stuff and I made double, I think triple. And then I bought all the stuff, all the organic oils, and that's how we survived. So what I'm saying is sometimes it's not an idea. I'm not a planner. I'm not going to sit there and write down my thoughts and dreams and desires. That's just not who I am. I'm off the cuff. I'm off the cuff and it's always served me good. So sometimes you might just be sitting there. You might be over the sink peeling potatoes. You may be doing whatever, wiping your ass. I don't know. That's how these ideas can come to you. Do not dismiss that inner voice. Do not dismiss that intuition. Do not dismiss your blessings being whispered to you at any particular moment, because that is the joy of being alive.
Yeah.
That is the joy of you opening your eyes and looking at the beauty of life. You closing your eyes and opening your ears and listening to the symphony of life. Okay? You touching yourself every morning. I am alive. Every cell in my body is alive. So you love who you are, where you are, and you plan forward. That's the only thing you can do. Forget about the past. Forget about who's not running this marathon with you. Forget about, oh, they said they're going to be there with me and they're not. Forget about it. You show up for you. You do what you got to do. And that's it.
Yes. Yeah. Let's look at some comments too. So my sister put, surround yourself with supportive people, have your plan in writing to share. Editha says, oh my God, Margie tells me that all the time. Whenever I have a new idea, I get excited. Then people tell me you don't even have time for this. What money do you have to start this new project? Then I get all boohoo. And Margie says, stop doing that. And I thank you, my soul sister. And Gail says, I look for balance of people who support me and are comfortable enough to tell me their perspective as well. I don't want yes people. I want truth and integrity, two of my top core values. And this is where you know that you are very set on who you are, like you're very clear, because if you need yes people around you, and a lot of leaders, like a lot of people in business, bosses and owners and whatever, they want yes people because number one, they don't have no clue on how to nourish their ego, and they're very insecure people, and they want to pump themselves up and be right. And it makes them right. But the reality is that if you are very clear on who you are and you have a vision and you have people that are around you that make you not question your vision, but challenge you to step up on your vision, because that's what you want. You don't want people to know people because they're tearing you down because they're jealous or whatever. It's the people that'll say, listen, I see I understand what you're saying with your vision. If you want this to happen, I'm thinking that try this, because it's not saying yes and it's not saying no. It's saying that I'm honoring your vision, but the direction that you're talking about is not exactly the best way. Here's my thought. And that doesn't mean that they're wrong. So that's why it's important. The clearer you are on yourself,
yes,
the easier it is to have people around you that will challenge you, will support you. In the end, they're always supporting you, because they'll say, no, listen, that's your vision. You go for it. So here's what I have learned. Here's what I've seen. Here's what I'm listening to. What did you ever think about it from this perspective? And the clearer you are, you will be able to also say, that's not my vision. That's your, that's not exactly right. Or that's a good point. That's one thing I have learned about myself over the last few years, is that the clearer I am about what it is that I want, what I'm creating, I'm able to work with people that get my vision and are helping to prop it up versus the people that don't agree with the vision and try to change my mind. Because before I was easily swayed, now I'm very much like, no, that's not the direction I want to go. And then I redirect them. And then I decide, and I could figure out really quickly the people that maybe quite didn't understand. And then that sort of got them to understand. They're like, oh, okay, now I understand what you're saying. How about this? And then I see where they're going versus the people that will still argue with me. And they'll go, well, I don't think that. Well, then I don't need your opinion because I know what it is that I want. Because years ago, for years, I would come up with really great ideas. And when I look back, so I am looking back, I look back at some of those ideas and they started in my 20s. And had I understood myself better, had I understood what my resilience was and that I could find resources, I would have been extremely wealthy because I had that mindset at an early age. In my 20s, I thought about buying properties and like investment properties and renting them. I had that mindset, but I didn't know how to actually buy the property. I knew in my head how I wanted to manage it, but I didn't know how to buy the property. And I never put myself next to people that said, hey, this is how you do it. This is how, or I can help you. I put myself next to people that said, oh, well, you're too young to do that. That's impossible. You can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And so it goes with every idea that I had. The minute I would mention it, somebody be like, well, why would I want to pay you to do that? Oh, you're right. Why would you? One person's opinion totally sidelined me. And then to see people come up with my idea 5 years later was like the real smack in the face to be like, I came up with this idea. And somebody else came up with the idea because this always happens. If you think of something, somebody else in the world is thinking of it too. But the difference is did you act or did the other person act? And that was the reality, was that the other people acted on it and they became successful because of it. And I chose not to act on it. Good morning, Priscilla.
You chose not to believe in yourself because you believe more in other people's. Well, we just to say our own insecurities fucked us up. And then the person's verbiage helped it. And so I think, yeah, when in 2000, August 2000, I was nominated Poet of the Year in Washington, D.C. So I wanted my ex to go, may he rest in peace now, to go with me. And he's like, yeah. And I said, okay, so get the tickets. And it was coming up to the time, and he's like, well, I didn't get the tickets. I don't feel you should go. What are we going to go there? What if you don't win? I said, it's not about winning. I was nominated. That in itself is enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Honor.
So he didn't want to go, and he felt I shouldn't have gone. Well, I went with the coworker, may she rest in peace. And we went, we had a weekend. We spent the weekend in Georgetown, Washington. It was phenomenal. Just phenomenal. And I met some very interesting people there. And one of them, while I was up on stage speaking, one of them was a journalist, a writer for Latina magazine. And mind you, I'm just an underground poet, never really performed in front of like a table of people or nothing like that, plus an audience. And I went, and then it was like, okay, I got my little plaque that I participated, whatever, that I was nominated. And then shared information. And then in September, I get a call from this lady from Latina magazine. They wanted to run a story on me. They called it Society's Poet. So when that magazine came out in November, my ex was really overwhelmed with himself. Where, if a person who's filled with insecurities, that when they see you growing, they feel threatened because now you're going to grow and then you're going to leave them and blah, blah, blah. So when I came out in the magazine, it was like really bad. It took a turn. And he was just, I'm going to call the magazine and tell them that you're full of shit and all that. But I just laughed. I've always been who I am. a little more controlled now than what I used to be, but I've always been who I am. And I laughed and I was like, only you, right? And I was like, go ahead, call the magazine. I mean, when I tell you Iris went with me to Manhattan, I had a celebrity photo shoot. It was food, it was jazz. I had a hairdresser, makeup artist. It was phenomenal. I mean, just the way they set it up by the Jacob Javits Center was huge. So I wasn't gonna let nobody bust my bubble, you know. And after that, in January 2001, I'm at work because the article mentioned where I work, what I did for the women in my community, blah blah. And there's a phone call. So the secretary comes by and says, Margie, the White House is on the phone. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know.
The White House.
So I didn't answer it. I'm working. And she's like, Margie, somebody from the White House is on the phone. I said, Jessica, stop playing. I have to get these reports done. She goes, I swear. She walked to the back. She's like, answer the damn phone. So I pick up and it was the White House. I was being considered as a Latina grassroots poet for Bush's, what's that party that when they're sworn in? And I was like, oh my God, they're asking me to do what Maya Angelou did, you know? And when I the inaugural, they wanted a Latina grassroots poet. They liked the article they read about me, some of my workings, and I could have written anything. And they said, it's just being considered. We don't know if we're going to do it. And then they actually wrote back and said that they were going a different route because Clinton had just had Maya Angelou. But to be considered was an enormous thing. Now, had I listened to my partner that I slept with, that I wasn't good enough to go to Washington and read in front of people, and why would I go? What if I don't win to be considered, you know, Poet of the Year? I would have never met the lady who listened to me, who saw my interaction with people on stage, and then wanted to write about Margarita, and then get this call from the Bush administration. And you know what? I even said, I didn't even vote for him because I still thought it was a joke. I didn't even vote for him. Why are you considering me? She goes, no, because it's just because you're Latina, you're grassroots.
That's why they went a different way.
What time is it?
It's okay, Miss Time, Miss Punctuality. And it was about just being a Latina grassroots poet. So let me tell you, here, say hi.
Hi.
Good morning, Mama.
Go get your
You guys
shoes on.
matched today.
And
You guys matched today. You're both
So
wearing green.
oh yeah, I know. We're both wearing green, Savannah. Look, we're both wearing green.
It's like the same kind of green. Yeah.
So I share my story because I don't share that story a lot, you know, and we forget our accomplishments. We forget our courage. And as I'm telling you the story, like my whole insides are tickling. So thank you for listening, because they were accomplishments that I forgot. And they're beautiful. And going forward for anybody, I don't care how old you are, look at my age. I leave Sunday, mi gente, to embark on a whole other journey. So
Yep.
it doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter what your economical thing is. As long as you have money to pay your bills, go and enjoy something. If you want to enjoy the second half of your life, but you're overwhelmed with mortgage payments, insurance, and all that, sell your shit and go rent a room with one of your children or a sibling. Life is about living
What are you
it,
attached
not
to?
existing in it.
Yes.
Okay?
It's about
If
living,
you
not
continue
existing. Thank you.
to exist in it, you're gonna always put your nose down at other people's joy, because you can't fathom how anybody can be that happy. And it's not even that they're hating on you, it's that they just can't understand it because they never allowed themselves to feel it.
That's
So
right.
discernment always should be up front when you're judging. Oh, look, they're just jealous, they're just haters. Maybe they just never felt joy, or they never allowed it to themselves to be embraced by it. So it's like, Iris, thank you for what you wrote, because you know what? Sometimes Iris will go on and she'll retro, and I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Stop. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take another deep breath, and let that shit go, because we're here, and we're not responsible for other people's behaviors. We're only responsible for what we allow to enter into us, in our
And
thoughts,
and
in our
let
spirit.
and let
Go
me
ahead.
say something with regards to what Iditsa wrote. Here's the other question. If, and I'm not picking on Iditsa, I'm just saying, because I've done this myself. If you continue to keep sharing your dreams with other people and keep receiving the same stuff, you have got to stop and sit with yourself and say, why do I keep doing that? Is it because I do want to stagnate? Is it because I want to self-sabotage? Do I want to make excuses for not moving forward? Because the reality is that if you trust in the process and you move forward, you might actually get what you want and might actually succeed. And sometimes that's really hard for people. And so if you, so really look at yourself. This is where you do have to look back. How many times have I said this to people in the most recent part of my life? You know, within the last year, how many times have I shared my dreams and they have squashed it and I've stood back? If you keep repeating this pattern, then you are allowing it. And you have to find, because when you really know something is good, you kind of keep it to yourself for a little while until you kind of figure things out. And then you kind of, you bring it out to people and you're so steadfast with it. So, and I'll give you the example. It's weird. Like I moved here and I had an idea of how I wanted my business to go, but it's going in a direction that I actually didn't expect. And one of them is hosting events. So here I am, like not even here a year, and I decided I'm going to create a health and wellness event, like a holistic event. I don't even know half these people. Like I'm just starting to get to know people, and I'm like, I'm going to make this happen, right? Then on top of it, I'm like, I'm going to have this dance party because I want to dance, right? And the minute I started to mention it to the networking people, like the people in my networking groups, everybody is so excited about it. Like they are just like, oh my God, I can't wait. Did you set the date, or when are the tickets going to be available? And I'm going, wow, this is kind of cool. Because here's why. I walked into it with this idea of like deep down in my heart, I want this to happen. I want this to happen, and I want everybody to benefit. This isn't just benefiting me, although it is part of my business. I want this to happen. So I'm going forward with this mind of saying, I want this to happen. This is going to be fantastic. And I'm going to spread this happiness to everybody and that enthusiasm. And everybody is getting very enthusiastic about it.
Mhm.
And if this goes in the direction that I plan for it to go, this is an annual thing. This is and then and people will know me for this and that just ups my business, because I want people to look at me and say, hey, you're talking about holistic wellness and stuff. Well, oh, I know who you can talk to. Oh, you need to connect with, and find out this. I know who you can talk to. That to me is the success that I'm looking for. And it was because it had to do with the fact that all of a sudden I was just like, you know what? I want to do this. And I feel and I know that the people around here would really enjoy it. And that's when so I had somebody come up to me and go, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing a wellness fair, because I've been thinking about that for weeks. And I could see it slightly in her face, like she was a little disappointed with the fact that she didn't act on it. And I wanted to make sure that I wanted her to be a part of it. Doesn't matter who thought of it. It matters that it's happening,
Amen.
because I've been on her side, and I didn't want her to feel like I am just coming into this place. You've been here a while and I'm just jumping in. It's because I have been blessed with the enthusiasm and the excitement, because I moved to a place where now I'm connecting with who I am and what's around me. And that's the beauty of clarity.
Because you trust what you're doing. You believe in what you're doing. Listen, it goes without saying. Look at Viva. It was a belief system. It's who you bring with aboard to make things happen. Look at the studio. I hesitated on signing that lease. I shared it. I hesitated for about a week to make that year-long commitment on the studio. And it happened. And then I invited Iris in. No, I'll take her. So I don't know where the badass Buddha went. But yes, Lori's dream and the name she's picking for her first dance. And Gail, yes, I don't know when the fair is, but I know the dance is in the fall, and I'm definitely gonna go up to Tennessee for that. And because it is brilliant, and people are taken aback when someone, like, because remember what she spoke earlier. Sometimes we sleep on our ideas, and it was Badass Buddha who says, when you put something out into the universe, nobody needs to hear it, but it's an idea that was born, and if you don't act on it, it's going to jump to the next person who's thinking the same, and then it's going to form there. And she came in and she's like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this. Why? Because she just shared a story of things she slept on in her 20s. And sometimes it'll take a day or 100 for you to wake up to the knowledge that I got to do this, and this is how I got to do it. So she's doing it. Wake up and do it. Kathy says, yeah, it's true. You don't have to share your vision with everybody. You don't have to share your ideas. But but let me tell you what I've also learned in this last time is when you have a tribe that's encouraging, that does help feed your spirit.
Yes.
It does. When you know your tribe isn't secretly envious of you, that every time, oh yeah, let's do this, and then they're like, you figure it out. Things are gonna come up. You're gonna learn who's who in your life. But the bottom line is you gotta continue to live your life, and you gotta learn how to let go of the extra baggage and welcome the celebratory party, because that's all we have. So never give up on your dream, even when you're afraid. Catherine said that others' options influence or mislead you for whatever reasons. Yeah, it's true. And you can say, I'm thinking of, let's go back 2 years. When I started my coffee company, which I'm missing it. I got to go to Florida and get all my equipment. But when I said, I'm going to name it Naturally Orgasmic Cafe Company, I got a lot of people who looked at me like I was like deranged, or that I was vulgar, whatever. I've
Love
even
that.
had someone say, why,
I love that name. I love that name.
yes. And I even had somebody say, don't you think you should change it? Because what if I want to buy some for my mother and she's a Christian and she won't drink it only because of the name? And without even thinking, my response was that she'll be missing out on a great cup of coffee. Why? Because that's just how my spirit is. I
God
don't.
never had a problem
When
with me
I'm
being
bothered,
orgasmic.
the old Margie, the 6 year ago old Margie would have been pam pam vino vino. Now I'm a little like, I don't want to offend this person, but I'm getting kind of tired. You get tired of people who continue on that hamster wheel, and then they know who you are, and then they're like, oh, you're so rude, you're embarrassing, you what? I don't care. You know who the fuck I am, and I'm being nice now at this part in my life. So I'm coming at you from a different angle, and you're still not getting it. So sometimes you just gotta cut. But it's true. Listen, when I wrote my coffee quote book, which I'm waiting because it's starting to bloom. I've been selling so many of them recently. It's not that I kept it from anybody. Just I'm at my niece's, and it was a Tuesday evening. And I get up. It was the Tuesday right before Thanksgiving, and I stretched and I was restless, and I sat in front of the computer, and I said, "Oh," and I started. I finished it Wednesday early evening. I was like, "Oh my God!" It was 50 pages only. And on Thursday morning, Thanksgiving Day morning, I sent it to be published. So it's just, I didn't have time. I was working on it, boom, boom, and I did it. And then I was like, and I received the copies of the printed books on my birthday. So that was my birthday present to myself. It wasn't really done. It was like, can I do this before the end of the year? And it was done. And sometimes, like I said, it's instantaneous that you're going to get this overflow of get up and get it done. Do it. Follow that instinct about yourself. It's never going to lie to you. So you stop lying to yourself. One thing, stop lying to yourself and blaming people around you. How's that? Stop convincing yourself of a lie you created not to face the consequences of your procrastination.
Amen.
So when you can get there and say, I don't fucked up. Yeah, I totally forgot. I fucked up. But when you don't do that and you're constantly, I don't want to keep hearing your same story because it's over and done with. And now you're messing with my energy.
Yeah.
And I'm very protective of my energy. And people have gotten upset and will continue to get upset because if I don't want to hear what you got to say anymore because you're dumping into my energy. Bye-bye, mama. So anyway, all that to say, I hope that the messages we gave out, because Badass Buddha was on point. You know, I shared stuff that I forgot about. You see how instantaneously those memories came forward. I didn't go back.
Yep.
The memories came forward. You see the magic of words. I didn't go back in my memory. They trickled forward. And those were some awesome memories. You know, I thought of Georgetown. And when I said we have fun, I was thinking about this Cuban underground club we went to and had drinks. And so I'm grateful for the start of that day of great memories that came forward to tickle me and to remind me what a badass I truly, truly am. I am that gladiator that I proclaim to be.
That's the memory. That's why I said that's when it's good to go back, because you reminded yourself what a badass you were. And that's the important thing, is to be like, screw you. And I'll tell you, there are plenty of people that will try to hold you back. I mean, I had a friend who, it's so silly. I witnessed an accident, a car accident, and I said, I'm going to go to the police station. I was young. I was like 16. I said, I'm going to go to the police station, and I'm the only one who witnessed it, and I'm going to tell them what I saw. And this friend actually got mad at me. Why are you going to do that? Just mind your own business. I'm like, because it's the right thing to do. Oh, and she hung up on me. And I sat with that, and there was that little part of me that felt guilty. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. And then I thought, no, I'm going to go. And I told my dad, and my dad says, okay, I'll drive you over there. And we went. But unfortunately, that friend had so much control over me that there were plenty of times where I didn't stand up for myself and do what was right. The lesson learned is that, and I allowed that for a lot of the relationships that I had going forward, both marriages. And it took me a long time to really wake up to the fact that I am who I am, and I'm standing up for myself. And it's so interesting to see that play out now, because that's all I am now here. Even when I was up in Connecticut, I wasn't really completely that person. But now here, nobody knew me from before. So they have nothing to compare it to. And I have been so steadfast in being who I am and being just upfront and who I am and not really worrying about anything. It's so interesting to see how people respond to me, and it's so positive. And I'm grateful for it. I'm not doing it because I'm like trying to show off. I'm appreciative that they're connecting with the person that I am and the person that I want to be. And it's working. If they don't, I'm okay with that. And we're not meant to be, or maybe not at this time. Maybe these people will connect in a year, because we're both in different places. So I'm just having fun being me. And I think that, and sometimes it really does make a difference. Your environment really does play a huge role. And if you can't get out of your environment, you have got to push harder to become yourself within that environment so that you can move forward. But I'm going to tell you that if it's very hard for you to do that, you must really take a moment and pause and say, maybe I really do need to get out of this environment. I know it's going to be hard. It's scary. It's a big change, but maybe I have to do that. I've seen it time and time again where people have stayed in a job they hated, and then only to finally get fired, be in that bad headspace. I got fired. They wanted to play the victim. And then all of a sudden the clouds cleared away. The light came through, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be out of there. And they would not have done it if they had not been fired. So that's the goal. And I know we went over on time, and we really appreciate you all excited about what we're talking about. And then a lot of times we get on a roll right at the end, right, Gladiator Guru? So sometimes that's
No, I was
just the way it works.
just checking on the baby. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes we need to remove ourselves out of the environment. Sometimes we stay in that environment because then we'll have something to complain about, something to
Yes.
be a victim about. But just right before we leave, just one thing, regardless of where you're at, whom you're with, who's treating you bad, who's treating you good, what do you need to do? What have you done? Remember, every single thing you need to prosper in this one life that you have, you already own. Stop looking for it outside of yourself.
Mhm.
It's all within. That strength, that courage, that ridiculously curiosity that you have endeared, really peeked out on. Everything you need to grow into the person that you were born to be, you own. But if you keep looking outside of you, depending on this, really, really yearning for that, you're never going to reach your full potential. So take that pause and realize who the fuck you are, and then travel inward and bring forth all of the strengths that you possess. And in doing so, you will lose a lot of people, but you're only losing dead weight that
That's
has been holding you back for so long. Think of it that
Yes.
way. And it doesn't
Yep.
matter who they are in your life. Family is the people you choose to be with, that enlighten you, that lift you up, that blow breath into you. Family is not just bloodline. And I learned that time after time as I was caregiving. You learn so many deep, deep things that people dare not talk about, but you learn it because you live it.
Yep.
So remember, look within, seek within, inquire within, because you got this. And with that, I have to leave because
Yep.
little Myla is
So
requesting my
listen,
presence.
2 things. Kathy, we got your video. I haven't looked at it yet, but people, please, if you want to take a less than 1 minute video about how you feel about Viva, we're going to be celebrating our 4-year anniversary. We would love to have some of those videos to share and post. Let us know what you think. Let us know how it's worked for you. And the next time we see you, Gladiator Guru will be on the first leg of her Camino. So she will be broadcasting from Europe on Tuesday. So thank you so much for everybody for being here. I won't say goodbye until Gladiator Guru comes back onto the screen. I know she's got to go. But do get your videos in. Send them to us. Just message us. And if you can't, I don't think you can message Viva, but you could message one of us directly. And there's the baby. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. Oh, God, she just looks so much like Robert. It's ridiculous. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute, Gladiator Guru. I don't think I can. Oh, there we go.
I said she's a little Robert Jr. Look at her.
She is just like him. It's just like him. Catherine and Marie, it's about, we just are asking you to just film yourself talking about Viva, what you gained from it, what you love about it, just so that we could start posting them and sharing them. They'd be less than a minute long. That's all we're asking for people to do is to how it's helped you and affected you. So thanks everybody for coming on. Have a great weekend. From the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yes. What did you say about me for next week? I heard you as I was walking away. Now
you're starting the first leg of your Camino.
Second part. I'm completing it. Yeah. So I'll be gone for a month, maybe 5 weeks.
The next Camino. You'll be on the beginning of the next phase of your Camino will be Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So I'm very excited. But yeah, so next week I will be coming live from España. Okay.
Close us out, Gladiator Guru.
And remember, mi gente, to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.